Okay, ladies and gents, welcome to my Play Dauntless hammer build. Now, I've been asked a lot to do a hammer build, and honestly, right now, I haven't figured out the ultimate best build for the hammer because the hammer is not a weapon that I use often. That's not to say that I haven't used it enough to understand it, but I do prefer other weapons. However, I do still have a hammer build that has worked, and it will carry you solo through any escalation other than the frost escalation. The reason being, the frost escalation requires either hard hits or a team to defrost yourself. If not for that mechanic, this hammer build could carry you through it. But due to frostbite, it's still difficult to run the frost escalation solo with the hammer. But all other escalations are easily soloable with this build. It is tested, proven, and I will happily showcase that as well. So, getting right into the build, I'm going to go into the legendary version first, and then we'll do the non-legendary version. Alright, so starting out with your weapon, you will probably want the Magma Quake. Okay, there's also the, the Malkurion's version. But the Malkurion's version, if I'm not wrong, relies on... which one is it? This one, Thundering Maul. Both are excellent, to be honest, but this one requires that you attack the head almost exclusively, which can be a bit difficult in the cases of some creatures such as the Rezakiri, things like that. So I still prefer the Magma Quake because, you know, you just get the ability to dish out extra damage. Okay, so for the build itself, there are two versions to it. Number one is a full Conduit build, which gives you, for the cells on your weapon, you will be adding Conduit and Overpower. Okay, Concussive Salvo is your special. Mod Turbine Trigger. This one's you purchased from Lady Luck, but it's really good. And Overpower from your Inferno's Burden Bond. This gives you +6 Overpower, which means that every time you stagger a behemoth, alright, you're dealing with 60% extra damage. And stagger doesn't just mean stunning it, okay, when he has the stars over his head, but any action that sort of causes it to stagger, you get bonus damage on that, alright? Conduit basically improves your attack speed for all slayers for 10 seconds. Having it at +6 gives you 15% attack speed. That's really valuable. Iceborne to reduce your damage. Rage to increase your damage. Toughness, of course, standard for my builds. And you've got your critical strike from Discipline and Wild Frenzy to boost your attack speed. Now, this is where it gets a little iffy, because if you don't really give a shit about your team, what you can do is you can just stack another Wild Frenzy here. And quite frankly, this is better for solos because you're getting 7.5%, which is actually higher than what you'd get for the Conduit, which is a temporary bonus that relies on your lantern. So in fairness, putting in a Wild Frenzy here is better if you're not in a team. If you are, Conduit's better. But again, you would not be using your lantern often enough to, like, it'll be on a, if I'm not wrong, this aura lasts for 15 seconds. So there'll be a 5-second gap each time, which for some people can be a bit iffy, but it's really up to you. Okay, so once again, you'll be using the Magma Quake for the legendary build. For the armor, you have your Sight of Stone, +3 toughness, +3 toughness cell. Your Boreal Resolve, +3 rage, +3 Iceborne cell. Boreal Might with the +3 rage and +3 discipline cell. And last but not least is your Boreal March with the +3 Iceborne, +3 Wild Frenzy cell. Basically, you want to stack speed on the hammer because it's such a slow weapon that being able to dish out faster means that you stagger things faster. So that's why I focus on attack speed. Now, that is it for the legendary version of this build. The non-legendary version is just Inferno's Burden. Now, this one you're a bit limited in terms of cells. You'd add Overpower and you don't really have any other option here, right? So, quite frankly, what I would stack is either Rage Hunter or Knockout King. Knockout King is usually the favorite choice because it gives you the 15% stagger damage, which you want. And it's good shit. Alright? But basically, that's the non-legendary version. It still works. It still works, just that you have less overall speed. So let's go into the legendary version again, and we will show you the solo. You still want plenty of overpower because the hammer just specializes in knocking things down. Okay. Grab this. Now we'll go into one of the escalations solo, so probably fuck it, let's just go straight into, oh, not frost. Ooh, almost got myself killed. Okay, we'll head into the Terra escalation solo, and I'll just show you how this thing works. The hammer is a very easy weapon to use if you know what you're doing with it. The concussive salvo is what you use to interrupt behemoths. So your evasion move, which is the double heavy attack click, which will just shoot 2 shots and move you, as well as your normal concussive shot, is what you use to interrupt. So in general, that's what your heavy attack, your concussive shot is for. Other than that, you will also be focusing on just whacking behemoths. So the reason why I don't go with the buff on this one is because this is not a support build, and also this is a solo build. As always, my builds have 3 factors: no consumable use, solo, and you must be able to self-sustain. 3 things. So any skill level, which is the reason why I put so much self-sustain in. Solo, no need for help, so you can take on any content by yourself or in a team. My builds work for teams, just that, you know, if your teammates are shit, you will not have a problem handling things. All right, and of course we got the Valentine's. I got a Valentine's color scheme going on. All right, let's go. So this is to showcase how the build works. Now remember, if you don't want to see the showcase, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm also currently saving up for other stuff, so if you want to tip me, there will be a tip link in the description as well, so feel free to do that. But if you just want to help me out for free, like, share, subscribe, turn notifications on. That's pretty much the best way to do it. So thank you very much for anything you do for me. Just know that it is valued. As you can see, it doesn't matter if you take hits. Again, my builds are traditionally like this. It will not matter if you get hit. But yeah, certain creatures like the Charo can be a bit annoying until you start taking out their gas vents and shit. But after you do, they're not a problem. Again, the Overpower is really what gets you through most of this, because you basically just like rip through your enemies and not give a shit. So there are other hammer builds that I want to test out. Like, they will be most likely used for even more attack power. I haven't tested it yet. Oh, excuse me. I plan to, but yeah, I didn't want to put it into the video as a maybe kind of thing, but without actually testing it, because for me, I have a bit of pride in what I do, and what I like to do is make sure that no matter what it is rigorously tested before being delivered to the public. Now, you can get into a bit of a situation like this if you end up having to deal with certain behemoths like the ones you're seeing now. Again, the biggest issue with the hammer is its slower speed, so a lot of the problems are alleviated if you do use the Shrike's Lantern for that extra delicious boost, and if you properly interrupt behemoths. But I mean, I'm just being honest, sometimes the hammer is problematic. That's why I don't like to use it right now, because its slow speed is great if you're fighting one behemoth, but when you're fighting 2 and speed is of the essence, well, it creates more problems than it solves. So honestly, and I mean, come on, dealing with a Shrike and a Gnasher at the same time is piss difficult for, you know, most layers. So I wouldn't say this build is perfect. Again, it does have its own shenanigans, but But yeah, as you can see, the concussive shot is useful for just knocking them down. Once it's down to one behemoth though, feel free to go ham. Again, the Malkurion's hammer is favored as well because of the extra damage to the behemoth's head. It's not bad, honestly. I have tried it, and it is pretty good. And for the same reason, there are axe builds that focus on the Malkurion's version so that you can do the extra damage to the head. But like I said, it's really up to you whether you want to do that kind of thing or not. It does deal extra stagger damage, but again, it's all up to what you want to achieve. For me, I think that the standard build is good enough. Again, you can have a lot of damage dished out if you know what you're doing. But occasionally you can run into difficulties like this, like getting combo attacked. Often hard to recover from using the hammer because the hammer is slow. No matter what people want to say about it, it's slow. Now there is another hammer combo which you rarely see me use. That's because I've already got Turbine Trigger to boost me, so I don't often use that build, but if you use the upper attack combo, it is faster and can result in more damage being dealt, so there you go. Again, Behemoth down. Like I said, this build is fully capable of soloing, and it is fantastic. Alright, so I'm actually going to leave the video here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to tip me, you can. The tip link is in the description. Alright, thank you so much for enjoying my build. The reason why I'm not going to the end is because I'm a bit lazy with the editing, and I don't want to have to edit it down, and I also don't think you want to watch 15 minutes of this stuff. You've got the information you need. You've seen it in action. 2 behemoths, 1 behemoth, doesn't matter. Alright, so enjoy my hammer build, and if you have a better build or a build that you think is better, please put it in the description of the video, and I'll happily test and review that build, same as I've done with other stuff as well. Okay, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all on the next one.